Good morning, class 12. In today's session, I'll be discussing with you the types of solution and more specifically, I'll be dealing with the colloidal solution because in this chapter, you have to study in detail about the colloidal solution. So before I start comparing the three types of solution, that is true solution, colloidal solution and suspension, let us take an example of each type so that you can understand the properties in a better way. True solution can be salt added to water. A salt solution can be considered as a true solution. That is, when you mix salt to water and stir it, the solution that is prepared is a true solution. Now coming to colloidal solution. For colloidal solution, you can add starch to water. Now starch is what? The wheat flour which is present in your home, which is used for making chapatis. That flour, when added to water, prepares a colloidal solution or a dispersion solution. Now the third category is suspension. Suspension, the example of suspension can be sand added to water, mud added to water. So children, keep these examples in mind while I explain you the properties. So the first category is a homogeneous solution. Homogeneous means a solution in which you cannot differentiate between the particles of solute and solvent, or the solution which has the same property and composition throughout is considered as a homogeneous solution. So obviously true solution is a homogeneous solution. Colloidal solution is a heterogeneous solution where you can say that the properties and the composition is not same throughout the solution. Suspension is again heterogeneous in nature. Second is the particles are ions or molecules. Like when you are adding NaCl to water, what is happening? NaCl will dissociate to give Na plus and Cl minus. So the particles which are present in a true solution are either ions or molecules. Then the particles which are present in colloidal solution are either single macromolecules or it can be aggregates. Suspension, the particles are aggregates of molecules or atoms. Okay, so you will not find ions in these two categories. Fine. Now coming to a very important point, that is the particle size. Children, this is very important. Particle size, the range of the size of the particle in this category true solution is 0.1 nanometer to 1 nanometer, which is very minute. 1 nanometer is equal to 10 raised to the power minus 9 meter, and this range is very minute. Colloidal solutions, the range is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. And suspension, the particle sizes larger than 1000 nanometer. Please remember this range of size. Then in the first case, that is in the case of true solution, the particles do not settle down. Like if you prepare a homogeneous true solution and keep it for some time, you will not see that the salt has settled down at the bottom. It remains dispersed in the solvent. In this case also, particles do not settle down easily. But in this case, if you are adding sand to water or mud to water, even if you stir it thoroughly and if you leave it for some time, you will observe that the sand or the mud particles have settled down. Fifth point, the particles readily pass through the parchment paper or the filter paper because these particles are so small in size that it is very easy for them to cross the pores of the this parchment paper or filter paper. They readily pass through it, whereas the colloidal solution pass through them slowly, and suspensions, they do not pass at all because the particle size is more than the size of the pores. Then sixth point is particles are invisible even under the powerful microscope. You cannot see the particles of a true solution even under powerful microscope. Similarly, in case of colloidal solution, the particles are not visible, and in case of suspension, they are visible. Even you can see them sometimes with naked eyes. Like the example that I took is sand in water. These particles, the particles of sand, can be easily seen with your naked eyes also. So here is the example. I hope the difference is clear. the basic difference is the difference in their size, and because of the difference in the size, the other differences arises. That is the passing through the filter paper, and their settling down, and many other properties arises because of the this size difference. Okay, now starting with the colloidal solution in detail. I'm talking about colloids now. Now you'll be studying about colloids, children, in detail. So in case of colloids, children, you'll observe that, like, if you prepare a normal solution, what do you say? You say that solute is dissolved in solvent, right? In case of colloidal solution, what happens? The terminology changes. Solvent is known as dispersion medium and solute is known as dispersed phase. Okay, please do remember this terminology. Solvent corresponds to dispersion medium and solute corresponds to dispersed phase. So whenever I'll be talking about colloidal solution, I will be replacing the term solvent with dispersion medium and solute with dispersed phase, because it is also known as, colloids are also known as dispersion. As I mentioned here, they are also known as dispersion. Now here is a note. Please note it down, children, in your notebook also. Gases among themselves cannot form a colloidal solution because of their property of diffusion to give homogeneous mixture. So gases, the two or more gases can never mix up to give up a colloid, to give rise to a colloidal solution. Why? Because when they mix up, the rate of diffusion is so high that they prepare homogeneous mixture instead of heterogeneous. And as you know that colloidal solutions are heterogeneous in nature, so you'll never get a heterogeneous solution of the colloidal solution prepared with the help of two different gases. Now coming to another very important table here, and from this table, children, you get the question in your board exams also, so please remember this table, and you will have to learn few things also in this case, but it would be better if you understand it and then try to learn it. So here you can see that the types of colloids are mentioned here, and the different heads are the dispersed phase, the dispersion medium, then the name of the colloidal system and an example of it. Okay, so in the first case, in dispersed phase is solid and the dispersion medium is also solid. That is, when you are mixing a solid into a solid to prepare a colloidal solution, then the name of the colloidal system is known as solid sol. And the example of this category is ruby glass. So you can Google the pictures to see ruby glass, how it appears. These are colored glasses, children. You can Google it and see the pictures. Then next category, when the dispersed phase is solid and dispersion medium is liquid, then the type of colloidal solution that is prepared is known as sol, and the example of it is paints. To prepare paints, what happens? In liquid, solids are mixed, okay, and the colloidal system is known as sol. Please, children, remember these examples and the name and these two also. You cannot interchange this. Dispersed phase will remain dispersed phase and medium will remain medium. Third category, solid dispersed in gas. Solid phase dispersed in gaseous medium. Then this is known as aerosol. Now, what is the example of aerosol? It is smoke. You can, children, apply your brain here and visualize that how the solids get dispersed in gaseous state where to prepare aerosol. So if you think of smoke coming out from the chimneys, what does that smoke comprises of? It comprises of gases, different gases in which particulate matters are present, which are solid, and it is termed as aerosol. In 2019, a question was asked based on this only, where it was asked that tell the name of dispersed phase and dispersion medium for aerosol, and also give some other example that is other than smoke for aerosol. Now you will think of some other example which is different from smoke and you will tell it to me. There are many examples apart from the examples which I have mentioned here. You try to use your brain and then tell me the answer. Then the fourth one is liquid dispersed in solid is known as gel. And the example is jellies, which is very simple. Liquid dispersed in liquid, example is emulsion. Sorry, the name of this is emulsion, and the example is milk, a very important category, children. Again, please remember this. Then liquid dispersed in gas will give you aerosol. This is also known as aerosol, and the example is fog. Both. That is, when solid is dispersed in gas, this is also known as aerosol. When liquid is dispersed in gas, then it is also known as aerosol. And in this case, the example is fog. Then, if gas is dispersed in solid, that is known as solid foam. The example of it is pumice stone. It is a type of stone, children, and you can see the pictures, children, by try to search it on Google and look at the pictures. Then you can. It is basically decorative stones. Okay, try to Google it and see the pictures, images. Then gas dispersed in liquid gives foam. Example is froth or whipped cream. This can be easily imagined, I feel. Okay, you can very easily imagine that how a gas getting dispersed in liquid give rise to foam, and the example is whipped cream and froth. Okay, so these are one examples which I have mentioned here, and at least one more example try to think on your own or try to look into your book, search it from your book and mention in the table. This is very important table, children. Please remember each and every terminology mentioned here. Now next is colloidal salts are sometimes given specific names depending upon the nature of the dispersion medium. And with the help of dispersion medium name, you can name the colloidal solution. Like if the dispersion medium is water, there is a difference between liquid and water. Okay, liquid is the state and water is actually, it is specifying that what is the dispersion medium. Then the colloidal system is known as aquasol or hydrosol. And if the dispersion medium is alcohol, that is known as alkosol. And if it is benzene, that is known as benzosol. And if it is gas, that is known as aerosol. Like you saw in this table, that in both the cases where aerosol is used, the dispersion medium is gas in both the cases. So please do remember this, children. And again, try to search for the examples, if any, given in your NCERT book and mention it here. Now moving on to the other classifications of colloids. Now based on the nature of the interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium, colloidal solutions are further categorized as lyophilic salts and lyophobic salts. Lyo means liquid, philic means loving. Like hydrophilic, if I say, that means water loving. Lyo means liquid loving salts, and lyophobic means liquid hating salts. These are liquid loving and liquid hating. I'll be discussing about these two in detail later on in this video. Now another classification is based on the type of particles of the dispersed phase. Like it can be multimolecular colloids, many molecules aggregated together. Then macromolecular colloids, that is bigger sized molecules. Then associated colloids like micelles. Again, I'll be discussing these in detail. So these are the basic classification of the colloidal system: lyophilic, lyophobic, and then these are based on the type of particles of the dispersed phase. So first of all, I am going to take up lyophilic and lyophobic salts. So lyophilic salts are what, children? These are the salts where there is a strong affinity between dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. They are, like they are actually liquid loving salts. So obviously there will be a strong affinity between the two of these, that is dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Lyophobic will have very low affinity because they are liquid hating. On shaking with the dispersion medium, they directly form colloidal salt. That is, if you simply shake the dispersed phase with the dispersion medium, the salts will be prepared by simply shaking. You don't have to put up any extra effort. And in case of lyophobic salt, it cannot be prepared easily. You have to apply some indirect methods to prepare lyophobic salts. Lyophilic salts are known as intrinsic colloids and lyophobic are extrinsic colloids. Again, I'll be discussing the same. And they are easy to prepare. Why? Because by simply shaking it with the dispersion medium you can prepare it, and they are difficult to prepare. Why? Because you need to apply some extra efforts in order to prepare lyophobic salts. Now talking about intrinsic and extrinsic colloids. So first thing is intrinsic are lyophilic. Keep this in mind. And extrinsic are lyophobic. Okay, so what are intrinsic colloids? Here it is mentioned, few substances like gum, starch, gelatin, rubber, they have an inherent or natural tendency to form colloidal solution on direct mixing with suitable dispersion medium, which I discussed with you in the last point. So they can directly form the colloidal solution. So these are what? These are the example of lyophilic salts. Please remember this: gum, starch, gelatin, rubber, etc. These are the example of intrinsic colloids or lyophilic colloids. Extrinsic are just reverse of it, colloidal solutions in which the dispersed phase has no affinity or hates the dispersion medium. So obviously if you will simply shake it with the dispersion medium, it cannot prepare a colloidal solution. The example of such colloids are, or lyophobic colloids are, solutions of metals such as gold, silver, metal hydroxides and metal sulfides. These are the examples of extrinsic or the lyophobic salts. Children, these are very important. You get the difference between lyophilic and lyophobic salt in your exam also, and the examples of the two are very important. So please prepare the notes properly and try to remember as much examples as you can in this chapter and the categories and everything, because this chapter is totally theoretical and you have to remember everything like the way I am telling you. And one more thing, preparation of notes, children. The way I am preparing it for you, you also need to write in the same way. And if you want, you can add on some extra examples from the book, or you can find out from some reference book, and then we will be doing the rest of the topics, that is the next category of the classification in the